But the lyric operator, I think it's kind of, you think it's the easiest because it's just pushing one button. But at the same time, it's often the most critical.
Yeah. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the MXU podcast. I am here with my friend Chad Rose from Revelux. Man, Chad, we've had a good week here filming at HQ.
It's been fun.
Yeah, we're talking about
great.
Media displays. So projectors, TVs, LED walls, all that good stuff, and how to use them more efficiently and better display lyrics, videos, all that good stuff on Sundays in your environment. So as we've been filming, first I've learned, Chad, you're not just like a LED guy. Like you have a lot of experience in the realm of leading worship. I haven't even fully learned your understanding of audio, but I'm sure there's quite a bit of understanding there, and video and lighting. And so anyways, as we've been working together, I'm like, oh, Chad knows a thing or two outside of this realm of LED. And one of the things that came up was the topic of lyric operation, lyric operators in the church, how important they are. And honestly, that perspective probably comes a lot from your time as a worship leader, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's one of the most crucial roles on the tech team. As far if you're a worship pastor or you're involved in worship at all, it's like a key role.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And it started off with like books in the seats, right?
Yeah.
You think about how this all started, the hymnals and song sheets, and then we go to overhead projectors, and now we're ProPresenter and switching the slides, but really that role is as much as of the worship, as much as a worship leader as the person singing on the stage, right? You're leading the congregation on what words to sing when and how to respond. So.
I didn't want to interrupt, but the overhead projector, I've been curious about this. Last night I was thinking, this is going to show you maybe how young I am, but I don't really remember a day where that was done in the church. How did they do it? Was somebody just in the front row, like sitting at the end of the pew with an overhead projector?
Yeah, I mean, totally. I remember as a kid, there was like a filing cabinet on the stage.
Yeah.
And they would have all the songs, the transparencies in alphabetical order. And before the service, they'd get a list and they'd go through and find, this song, and they lay them out. And then someone would just lay that transparency on the overhead projector, and it would shine light up through it. And then there's like a big lens that would put that on the wall.
Just like on a center screen up on stage?
And if they got the transparency backwards, the words would be wrong, or it could be upside down, or, there's all kinds of ways that that could get messed up.
Yeah.
But that was kind of how it all started.
Yeah.
And if you're really sophisticated, they had slide projectors. And they would make slides, and you'd have to have slides made for each song. And
it's just the whole song up there.
Yeah.
Well, so if you're in the congregation and you get lost, you're like, I got to figure out where I am on this thing.
Yeah. And it was even kind of controversial, like churches that would use overhead projectors, they'd call them off-the-wall churches.
Off-the-wall churches?
Because they would sing off the wall versus a book,
That's good.
It was a whole thing for a while.
Huh. It's interesting. From my days working in ministry, if I'm honest, lyric operators, that position was almost seen as like the entry level, throw them on ProPresenter this week. And from what I see, that still kind of tends to be the mentality. Like, well, and maybe it is because it requires the least amount of skill or experience stepping into that role.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it carries such a high value for the success of Sunday.
Yeah, it's very critical. And I mean, in a lot of ways it's simple because you're kind of clicking through to the next slide. But there's a lot to it. I mean, I guess mixing audio, there's a lot more to mixing. I know EQ and compression and all of that. Cutting cameras, you got to be able to have a little bit more technical knowledge on camera shots and all of that. But the lyric operator, I think it's kind of, you think it's the easiest because it's just pushing one button. But at the same time, it's often the most critical.
Yeah. I can't help but just look back at days even as a worship leader or in other areas on the tech team where it was like, how come they can't just get the lyrics in time. Like, how come like it's such an easy job?
Yeah.
Still to this day, I've never ran lyrics.
Mm.
So I could not tell you. Like, it's one of those things that's really easy from the outside looking in to go, it's really simple.
Right.
But I remember a while back, I think it was Lee Fields was telling me he had never run lyrics either, and he had stepped into a position, or we were doing some training around here or something, and he was running lyrics for something, or maybe I was an MXU live event. And I just remember him looking at me going like, oh, this is actually, or maybe it was camera operation, but he's like, it's actually really a lot harder than I always thought it was.
Yeah. It's stressful.
Yeah.
It's stressful. There's a lot of pressure on the role.
Yeah. And so it's practically, what are some things people can look for when they, because in almost every church, not every church is going to have a lighting op. Not every church is going to have a drummer. Not every church is going to have a monitor engineer, right? Like, churches look different in different scales. Almost every church today is going to have a lyrics operator.
Yeah, for sure.
Or a ProPresenter op, somebody who is playing videos, getting lyrics up on the screen. So I think it's a really important discussion to have when we are encouraging people in their kind of pursuit to find people for that role. What are some, from your perspective, what are some key attributes, qualities, experience that we should be looking for in a prospect who would be stepping into that position on Sunday?
Yeah, I think it needs to be someone that is aware of what's going on, you know, and sees the bigger picture, and is very detail focused. You know, you don't want to be distracted by a text on your phone or be doing something else. I mean, you got to be on it, right? It's the one thing in tech that changes rapidly, right? I mean, if you're doing a lighting cue, that could be per song, or you know, mixing. You make some changes slightly as the mix goes along, but those lyrics are changing every 10 seconds, 15 seconds. I mean, so you got to be on it. You can't be asleep.
Yeah. Something I was thinking about, some of the most gifted lyric operators that I've seen have been like musicians at heart, or at least love music. Right. And so they can understand rhythms and songs, and they can understand what it's like to, you know, need to get the lyrics on to the screens, you know, the beat before the measure starts or whatever. And so I think that's also another important quality, is like somebody who wants to step into running lyrics. Yes, running graphics for sermon, very important as well. But you're right, it's not as rapid, and it doesn't require that coordination as much.
You have to have some musical knowledge, you know, understand like beats and rhythms and when things need to come in. And also be aware that, like, if there's an instrumental section happening or an intro or something like that, you don't need the lyrics up there. You know, there's times when it needs to go away. You know, and so I think having some awareness of what's actually happening is important. I've even seen it to where they'll sub in worship team members, like vocal team members, to run lyrics once a month. Because they often have a great understanding of the songs. I mean, I think this is going to sound so simple, but even like a prerequisite, if they don't teach them quickly, if they don't already know this, like, what is a chorus? Right. What's a bridge? What's a verse?
I remember the days of being on a worship team going, hey, we're in rehearsal, and hey, let's pick it up from the chorus, guys, or let's pick it up on the, you know, the third time through the bridge. And lyrics ops being like, I have no idea where we are at this point. Like, I'm used to just going from the beginning of the song and following you through. You don't need to have years of musical experience under your belt, though, to understand verse, chorus, bridge. You know, like in worship music particularly, it's pretty simple cadence often. Right. So when we're talking about, you know, MXU, we're responsible for training churches all around the world. And a lot of them are asking us for advice on how to train lyrics ops. And that's one of the first things I tell them is like, just teach them natural cadence of songs.
Yeah.
So that when they go home, they can actually like do some studying and go, oh, okay, I know what the chorus of Waymaker is.
Right.
I know what the bridge is.
One of the things I think is really critical is that you can rehearse this stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be done only when worship is happening at church.
Yeah.
Is if the band is practicing, they're going through their set midweek or maybe on Sunday morning, the lyric op should be right there, practicing with them. Just like a drummer or a keyboard player would practice their part, the lyric operator can practice with the band, get a feel for the arrangement, how the song flows, when the spots or the lyrics come out, and actually know the song, right?
Yeah.
Like know how the song goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I think it can be really tempting when you find somebody who is great at running lyrics to go, we're going to use this person every week now. And I know it can be really easy from personal experience to just depend on the people who make your job easier on Sunday. But what we find is that those people who lyrics operation is a great, it's a gateway drug to production, honestly, in a lot of ways. I know a lot of people who have become fantastic audio engineers, fantastic lighting folks, fantastic video directors, and they started out running lyrics in their youth group.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to say that and make it sound like it is this not important entry-level position, but it is an entry-level position. We need to make sure people understand it is still incredibly important. And so moving people through it and I would encourage people to have folks on their audio team run lyrics once a quarter.
Rotate people through.
Rotate people around. But just provide opportunity for people to not be, they're just a lyrics op. But maybe they also fulfill this other highly skilled position on the team. But it's really important that I think we understand other sides of the coin when we're in these ministries. Again, from my own personal experience, I never ran lyrics.
Yeah. Years
of doing ministry, years of playing drums, worship leading, audio engineering. And I always say, I refer to myself as a vidiot. I don't know anything about video. Yeah. And I kind of for a long time prided myself in that. I don't know anything about video. I don't want to know anything about video. But just bringing more people into it, I think is a key one. Yeah.
And it can be it's really tempting if you find someone that does it well to always want them to do it.
Yeah.
Especially as a worship leader. I mean, I can remember that confidence display, that stage display often will give you the first lyric, right? And so when you're in the moment and you're leading and you're like, what's that first, it's really easy to forget the first of each line. And when you find someone that does it right, it's like, I want them every service. You know?
Yeah.
But it's a crucial role.
Yeah, absolutely crucial. Well, for those of you listening, Chad and I actually recorded a video that's going to go out to YouTube. It might be out by now already. Stay tuned. Video on basically kind of 4 steps to making your lyric slides look better. We see this at churches across the world, really. Every church has lyrics, so you see a lot of good examples and you see a lot of bad examples, frankly. And so we're going to talk about how everybody should be using Comic Sans. Joking. Don't use Comic Sans for your
Futura.
Anyways, great resource for y'all to go check out on YouTube. And we also film that course coming to the MXU platform on media displays, dive deep into projectors, LED walls, TVs, processors, cabling. Yeah. A lot of really good stuff there. Really good 101 concepts for those of you who are trying to train your volunteers and maybe they are coming in and operating these systems every week, but they don't necessarily know how they work, but they want to learn how, some video infrastructure is done and getting lyrics from a computer onto a media display in your sanctuary, it's a great starting point to send those people and get some foundational knowledge into how media displays work. So, but this has been great. Man, I love this discussion and talking about lyric operators and what a crucial role they play on our teams. And
I would just add a big thank you to all the people out there running lyrics. You guys are killing it and rocking it, and what you do is so important every Sunday. It's easy to feel like you, especially if you're like hiding in the back somewhere that nobody sees it. But I mean, it's a crucial thing, and just know that what you do is valuable, and it's important.
Yeah, that's good, Chad.
Yeah,
very much so agree. So we appreciate all y'all listening, and we'll catch you next time.